Hey, what's up guys? I'm BTC. Ever since Blizzard announced they were changing the competitive ranking system a few days ago, there have been a lot of questions and some confusion about how exactly it's going to work. So today I'm going to take the time to fully explain and break down what exactly they're going to be changing with Season 8. So when this first came out a couple days ago, people were concerned that Blizzard was giving too much attention to the higher ranked players and that they were getting a significantly better priority over what should be fixed for their gameplay as opposed to the people that were in the average or the lower skill ranks. And that really isn't the case. Now, I'm going to put something up on the screen right now. This is basically just what was posted the other day. I'm not going to reread all of it because I already did that in the other video. Now, you can pause the video and read it if you want, but essentially what it says is that Blizzard is going to remove the performance-based SR bonus at the end of all of the matches. So how it works right now is there's a ton of different factors that go into determining how many points you gain or lose at the end of a match. Now, one of those things is how well you personally did compared to other people who play the same character as you. So if you were playing Soldier 76, for example, it would compare your stats to the other people, the average of Soldier 76, and if you did better than the average, then you would get more, and if you did worse, then you would get less. So when you won a match, you would get, instead of just, let's say, 20 points, you would get like 22 or 23 or whatever happens to be. Or if you did extremely well, you might get like 30 or more points. Now, if you did really well, but you still ended up losing, then you would just lose not as many points as normal. So you would maybe lose like 17 or 18 instead. Now, if you did really bad and you won, then you wouldn't really get that many points. So it would be basically the reverse. So you would only gain like 16 or 17 if you played really bad. And if you lose when you're playing really bad, then you would lose a lot more, like 25 or 30 or whatever it happens to be. Now, there were two problems with this. The first, which has kind of already been solved but still lingers a little bit, was that you could one-trick, particularly with off-meta characters. So if you used an unpopular character, like Sombra, for example, who has a very, very low pick rate, usually she's bottom of the barrel, and she also has a very low win rate and just low stats in general. If you played that character and only that character and you actually did okay, or better than okay, then you could rank up very, very quickly, because it's comparing your stats, which are pretty decent, compared to the average, which was just kind of terrible. So you would rank up really fast, and that's what happened in Season 5 when we saw Sombra players climb all the way to Grandmaster with only a 30% win rate. And while the major parts of that issue have been fixed already, it still kinda lingers a little bit. So if you play one character for the full duration of a game, you're gonna get better stats, and it's gonna give you a better bonus than if you switch off to different characters during the match. So that de-incentivized switching to other characters. So even if the situation you were in was bad, people still didn't want to switch because they knew they would lose their little personal SR bonus. So the second major problem with the personal SR bonus was that it meant you had to kind of play greedy, selfish, and you had to pad your stats. So you would have to go out of your way to do that little extra bit of damage or that little extra bit of healing that you might not have really needed to do, and it puts you or your team at risk. So a really good example of this is, let's say that I'm playing Moira. Now, I already have my ultimate because Moira builds ult really fast. The Mercy on my team does not have her ultimate, but the team fight has just ended. So we have some of our teammates that are still damaged and they need to be healed up. Now, it makes sense for me to allow the Mercy in order to heal up the rest of my team so that she can build her ult a lot faster and might have it ready for the next fight. But because I need to pad my own stats and keep my own kind of personal SR bonus up there, so I take as much of that healing for myself so that I can buff up my own stats and get a bigger personal SR bonus. So hopefully now you understand what the personal SR bonus is. So now I'm going to explain why they're getting rid of it for Diamond and above, but why they're keeping it for Platinum and below. So for Diamond and above, it's a very different kind of game than it is for Platinum and below. For Bronze to Plat, you basically have to play for yourself. there's a lot of disorganization, no one really communicates, or at least it's not where it should be, and a lot of the players tend to just kind of play for themselves. They do what they want to do. That's why you very rarely see the full 6-on-6 fights. Instead, you have people constantly trickling in. There's 2-on-2 fights over here, there's 3-on-3 fights over there, all that sort of stuff. And the winner tends to be whoever happens to have the more mechanically sound players. And things just kind of happen. Now, it's quite a different story for Diamond and above. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that every game, every team, Diamond and above, is this incredibly well-oiled machine that works amazingly together, because that's simply not the case at all. However, there is a significant increase in the amount of cooperation, coordination, and just general teamwork when you get up into the higher ranks. Now, the reason why they're getting rid of the personal SR bonus is because of this teamwork in the higher ranks. People were being de-incentivized to switch off to other things because then they would lose their personal SR bonus. But now with that gone, basically they can play anything that they need to play in order to try to win the match. So they no longer have to focus on padding their own stats, like I said in that example before with Moira and Mercy. They don't have to do that anymore. They can just try to win the match. And that's basically the goal that Blizzard is going for. So then why are they keeping it for Platinum and below? Well, there's really two reasons. The first is because, as I said earlier, people don't really play with a whole lot of coordination in those brackets. So it's really kind of like whatever happens, happens. And usually it's whoever has the more skilled players, and that's just who ends up winning the match. The other thing, though, is an issue of Smurfs. So Blizzard does not want to have the same system across the board, because if they did, what that would mean is that people could create Smurf accounts and derank them, and then they could probably perpetually keep them down in those low ranks with very little effort. All they would have to do is, if they win a match, then they just lose one. If they win a match, they just lose one, and that's it. As it is with the personal SR bonus, if they play one of those matches in bronze or silver and they just completely roll the enemy team, they're not just going to get like the 20 points, they're going to get like 100 points. And it very quickly brings them out of those lower ranks because they were playing at such a high level. So if they were to remove that personal SR bonus for Platinum and below, it would make Smurfs a significantly bigger problem than they currently are. So by keeping the personal SR bonus for Platinum and below, it means that people trying to Smurf aren't going to be able to keep those characters down there as easily as they otherwise could. Ultimately, I do think this is going to be a pretty good change for the competitive ladder. So if you guys have any more questions, let me know down in the comments. Also, don't forget to check out my Discord server. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, all that stuff. The links are down below. Thanks for watching. Remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault. Also, special thanks to all my Patreon supporters for helping to make this all possible. If you'd like to see what kind of cool rewards you can get for supporting the channel, check the links on screen and down below.